Hey Ben.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey mate, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Whereabouts are you? You're somewhere very sunny, obviously in LA.
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, man. I'm in LA right now. Yeah.
Nice. Are you in like studio complex there or something? Have you been working in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
studio today?
This is the Rebels group. Yeah. So this is like the Rebels group, my management's like studio complex. Just chilling here working on some ideas. Popped out to chat with you.
Nice. Appreciate it. How much time are you like? Is it 7 days a week pretty much for you working on ideas?
Pretty much, man. I'm not off too often, I think like whenever I'm chilling, I'm always still feeling inspired. So you never know when you never know when inspiration will hit. So I usually find myself pretty close to some type of setup of some sort, you know.
Yeah. What's the strangest time that inspiration has hit and you've been like, I gotta stop what I'm doing. I need to do that. I need to record this.
That's a good question. Hmm. I don't know. A lot of the times when I'm like at the beach or something like that, I'll like randomly get an idea. I do like going to the beach or like going on hikes. Like I'm like often inspired in nature, and I'll like pull out my phone and just like mumble a little voice memo or something like that. You know. Um. Yeah. I don't know, man. Whenever, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Well, I mean, you've had a busy 12 months, but even this year alone, I mean, just even with your work with Rico Nasty, I think three singles this year with what was it, Black Punk?
Yeah.
Black Punk just came out.
Yeah. Yep. And then we've got the album coming out end of the month. So yeah, it's first like 2 months of the year we were just working every day with her. So that was a fun time for sure.
How did that relationship strike up?
We started off. We actually met through her manager, my guy David Ali. I was actually at a party last summer, um, out here in LA, and I had been doing a bunch of work with his other artists, and everybody was a little faded, feeling good. The sun shining down, and it was like he was like, "Hey man, like I really like you. Can you be at the studio in 30 minutes with Rico?" And I was like, "Damn, like okay, I'm a little drunk, you know what I mean?" So I'm like, "Fuck, all right, I gotta get myself together, get the pack together." And then I headed over to the studio. And there was like another producer there and stuff, so I was just chilling in the corner. And it's crazy. I remember that day actually. Wale pulled up to the studio before I had even really talked to her or anything, and I was just kind of chilling, fly on the wall type of vibes. And then eventually, when she told me to like play some stuff, she was like, "Oh, this is dope. This is dope. Do you have anything like this?" Like a random thing. And then I'll be like, yeah, I got it. And then I'll play it. And she's like, oh, wow, do you have anything like this? It was almost like she was testing me. And I just kept playing like all the different vibes. And she's like, wait, so you could kind of do anything, huh? And I
Nice.
was like, yeah, for sure. And then like, it was crazy. One of the first songs we ever made ended up, we combined like two different beats that she liked because she thought they were like the same beat. It was so, and then it just kind of like, she kept telling me what to do and I would just do it. And then it was kind of just like a synchronicity that ended up turning into like a very fruitful relationship. So yeah, we ended up working right after that for like a week, and then she went on tour, and then when she got back, we did the album. So it was a fun process. It was very I've never felt so free making music. She's so creative, and this project for her, it's not made with the intention of like going number one on Billboard. It's really just like experimental, interesting stuff. And I haven't done a lot of stuff like that, so it's fun to kind of just scratch that itch.
Yeah, it's such proof of the fact that you just need to be ready, right? Like opportunity struck you that time, that afternoon when you got approached to go to the studio and you had to be ready.
Yeah. It's luck and preparation. You know what I mean? Right place, right time. But if I didn't have the right beats or the right energy, then it wouldn't have worked out. There's definitely been situations where I've been invited and it didn't work out. But, a lot of the times it's just the stars align. You got to be ready for it.
That's it. Well, isn't that is that that's what the 10K stands for in Ben 10K, isn't it? 10,000 hours putting in that work.
Yes, sir, man. Come on. 10,000 hours, man. 10,000 hours, people be like, oh, it's $10,000. But it's like, man, with 10,000 hours, you can make 10 billion,
That's it. Have you done your 10,000 yet, or are you still on the way?
I haven't actually done the math, but I think, I'm probably getting up there. I started making beats about 10 years ago when I was 14. So I think, almost every day since then. So I got to be close if I'm not there already.
That's it. That's it. I wanted to talk to you about when you started making beats because you grew up. You're in LA now, but you grew up in the Bay Area in Alameda, I believe, and
Yeah,
the Bay Area has such a rich musical heritage. How
for sure.
aware were you of the Bay's musical heritage growing up?
Very much aware, man. I mean, it was always for me. Um, it was so many people coming up when I was young. Like I'm not sure if you're familiar with like HBK gang, like I Am Sue and P-Lo, and those, and obviously G-Eazy, Kaylani. They're all a little bit older than me. And a lot of the time I was spending, just going around, living around. I was just seeing these people, around town, and then boom, like they're on TV, they're doing big shows, they're on Billboard, and it was like, damn, like I could really do it. You know what I mean? Like somebody from my area has done it already, so it was definitely very like motivational, seeing that, and I definitely credit growing up where I grew up with being a big part in why I'm able to do what I do now, and was already comfortable being in the studio and being around artists and stuff, just because the artist I came in with, 24kGoldn, is like a friend from back home. You know what I mean? So it was just like so much talent always around, and so much culture, and yeah, that's definitely very important in what I do, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I want to talk to you about 24K Golden, but just before that, just again about the Bay Area, because I think there was a compilation. Is it the Rompilation compilation that was?
Oh man, what do you know about that? Okay, you're on your Nardwar shit, huh, Rod? Yeah, the Rumpelation compilation, man. I mean, the first CD I ever bought, was at Rasputin Music in Berkeley when I was like 7 years old. It was a Mac Dre CD, and I begged my dad to let me buy it, and just because I really liked the cover. It was like hella colorful, and like he's on there like doing this and stuff. I was just like fascinated by it, and then that was just kind of like a rabbit hole of Bay Area music that led to you know really getting in tune with that, with E40 and Mac Dre, Too Short, all the hip hop that's come out of the Bay. Yeah.
So that was him. So you were like 7 or 8. You're young at this time when you're being exposed to that music, right?
Yeah, I mean it was everywhere. You couldn't even go to the corner store without seeing like something that said hyphy. There was the hyphy energy drink, there was the short yellow bus t-shirts, and it was just around, when I was a little kid. Like it was like towards the tail end of the hyphy movement, because I was born in '97. So, it was going on like when I was a little kid. That was like my first idea of like local music awareness, just because I had like older like neighbors that were friends of mine, and they were just playing that and being involved in the movement and stuff. So I was really seeing that, like, oh, this is going around me. Like, oh damn, I'm watching E40's music video. I'm like, that's right up the street from where I grew up. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. So when do you reckon it snapped with you? When do you reckon you went, I'm going to give it a try?
I think it was. I had this one friend. I was always like beating on tables and like writing little rhymes and stuff in middle school. But I had this one friend in high school when I was a freshman that was like, "Hey man, like, I always hear you beating on the tables and stuff. There's this place in downtown Oakland that you could go, and they'll teach you how to make beats." It was this place called Youth Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I went over there. I didn't really know anything, but I always like played instruments growing up, so I had like an intrinsic, I was very much drawn to making music. So it kind of just clicked right then and there as soon as I stepped foot in there and opened up Reason, which was the first program I ever used. Um, and yeah, I just started making beats, and I wasn't really trying to give them to anybody. I was just like trying to get better at it, and then I started rapping on my own beats for a while, and yeah, that was like, yeah, when I was like 14, something like that.
Right. Do you remember the first moment that you showed your beats or your raps to someone and they actually said, this is good. You've got something here.
Yeah, it wasn't until um one of my good friends growing up, he had tragically passed away back in high school. So I made a song kind of like in his honor, and it was like before then I wasn't really doing anything too serious, but people weren't gonna clown me for that because it was so like real and heartfelt. So like when I made that, and people were like, oh, you made the beat too, like that, then people were like, okay, like actually you might be kind of good at this. So it was kind of like before that I was just messing around and making music for fun, but the moment I really kind of baked some real intention and like meaning behind it, that was kind of when I was like taken more seriously by my peers.
Yeah. Were you comfortable doing that? Were you comfortable putting your emotions out so freely into the world?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've always been kind of an extrovert, like I was just, growing up, I was very much like uh just all over the place and always like speaking my mind. I would always get in trouble for it. Like if I would always talk back to teachers, and I would get in fights and cuss out kids, and just I always spoke my mind. So I really never um had any issues. It was, if anything, it might have been a little too much. It might have been a little too heavy, you know what I mean, for a lot of people. Like playing it for my mom or playing it for my friend's mom, like they started crying and stuff, and I was like, damn, like this might be like a superpower, you know what I mean, just being able to channel um real emotion into music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's the progression from that point to deciding that you're going to move to LA? Are you just working around the Bay? Are you just hustling around the Bay before you build up enough of a reputation?
Yeah, so I mean, at the time I was really just focused on trying to be a rapper myself. I wasn't really considering like the idea of being like a producer for other people. So really I knew that I always had to come to LA if I wanted to make it. And it's not too far of a trek, it's a 1 hour flight, 6 hour drive. So I was like, by any means I need to make it out here. So I came out here for college, and I didn't really know anybody out here, but yeah, I just fresh out of high school when I was 18, I moved out here for school, and that was kind of like a turning point because as soon as I got out here, I was like, wait, I kind of suck. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that good, cause like yeah, the one person I knew out here, my friend Martin, he lived with my other friend, this guy named Dylan, who at the time was doing a bunch of stuff for like the Weekend and Logic, and I was hearing the stuff he was making. I was like, wow, like I suck. Like I really need to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. But yeah, LA was definitely a wake up call. It took me a little while to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how did you figure it out? Like, because the point where you are now in your career, like, there are a lot of steps to get from that point to where you are now. How did you even start? So you started working on your craft more, but beyond that, what's next?
I mean, it was a good 2 3 years of just making beats and making songs every single day in my apartment, which was pretty much like a dorm, and really just trying to get to the point where I felt like, okay, if I give this to somebody else or play this for somebody else, they gotta be like really like, oh wow, this is pretty good. And even then, like after those 2 or 3 years, now looking back, like I wasn't even close to where I'm at now, but like sonically. But at the time, it was good enough for I had met this cat at a party that I threw at my house back home, and that turned out to be 24K. He just randomly walked into my door when I was back home for the summer, and I was like, he was like, "Oh, like I make music. I heard you make beats. Like, I would love to collaborate on something." And this was probably like 2018, 2017, something like that. And before him, I hadn't really met anybody that I felt like he could really make it. You know what I mean? Before that, it was kind of like, oh, this is cool, but like I don't really see this going anywhere. So I'm gonna just focus on my own music. But when I met him, I was like, okay, like this guy's gonna do something bigger than the Bay. You know what I mean? And around then, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe I should focus on making some beats. And then that kind of led me into seeing what producing really was, getting my first placement, seeing what that money looked like, and seeing how that was, and really just getting better and better, and meeting people that also like do what I do, and building out a community out here in LA. And it was just kind of a gradual step by step process of just like, okay, this works, this doesn't, you know, this is how you um pitch something to somebody, this is how you get a session, you know, this is how you know, build a relationship with somebody, because really at the end of the day, that's the number one thing is relationships. So it's really a lot
Yeah.
of like social skills. Really, once you get to that point of being good enough to make something that people will get on and enjoy, other people will like to listen to, it's like at that point it's a matter of like being likable and like, you know, knowing the right people and stuff like that. So that really takes a long time. And then, you know, after that, like
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to get my management team, or link up with them, and you know, one of them was my best friend from back home, Ben, my manager Ben Senseless. So that was like, yeah, it was very serendipitous. Like most of the people I work with to this day are people that I've known for years, you know.
Right. Right. And how long after meeting 24K was it that you worked on working? Like how long before that track came out?
That was, I gotta say, that was probably 2-3 years after we met, you know.
Right.
And yeah, so what, like during that time period, we were spending a lot of time together, working. I was really trying to help him elevate his sound, but at the time, like I gotta say, like my music was not at the point where he wanted to go with it. He wanted to make pop music. He wanted to make music that sounded like the music that he put out now. And honestly, like my production was not even close to at that level yet. Now I can say that it, you know, is getting there. But at the time, like I really wasn't prepared. So we had that song come out and I was like, okay, like now I have something that I can say that I did, but my beats were still not at the level that it's like undeniable. You know what I mean? So it's like um that just had to be like a little wake up call. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. Like now I'm not the only producer that he works with. He's working with people that I'm a fan of. You know what I mean? So I'm like, damn, I get to even be in the room with these people, be a fly on the wall, and like just kind of soak up game. That was big for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of like that was an interesting time period. You know, like 2019, 2020. It was like a big growth period for me.
Did you feel like you belonged in those rooms, or was there that sense of imposter syndrome that you had to overcome?
Just a bit, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was definitely a bit of imposter syndrome because I was like, damn, like I'm not even close to at the same level as these guys. You know what I mean? Like, but it was cool now because I'm starting to see those same people again that I met back 3-4 years ago, and now we're meeting in rooms that I do feel like I belong in. And like now that I'm at the point where I'm in my career where I'm like, okay, I'm being invited to these places. I'm not just coming in with my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. What was the biggest shock for you in terms of when you moved to LA or you started talking to people like 24K and you learned a little bit about the industry? What was the biggest surprise to you in terms of, wow, I didn't think that was part of this industry. I didn't think I'd have to do that too.
I gotta say, like you know, he started out as like a songwriter, so I think um, the biggest shock was like seeing how much work goes into pitching songs and making hooks for other people, and just how many people, or how many songs you have to make to get one landed. You know what I mean? In my mind, I'm like, oh, if I got a beat that's good enough for this person, like, I'll just play it for them or somehow get it to them, and then boom, we have a song. It's a hit. Like, the process itself is so grueling and like has so many ins and outs and stuff like that. I gotta say that was like the biggest shock. Just how many people go into making a great song. And how many steps have to be taken, whether that be putting it in front of somebody to finishing it, you know what I mean, and getting it out on streaming services. Like, the amount of like things that have to go
Yeah.
right for a song to make it out is like the craziest process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? But I mean, your songwriting, I mean, obviously your production is very accomplished, but your songwriting is also come on leaps and bounds. When you think about These Things Happen to by G-Eazy, which you co-wrote several of the songs on, that idea of
Yeah.
writing on tracks but not producing them, is this like a parallel lane for you, actual songwriting as well as producing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with G, it was kind of like um we got out to Monterey to work on his album, which was a crazy story in itself. And I initially, my manager Ben, he was an intern at the time. He finessed me into there, saying that I could track vocals. You know what I mean? And it was like, uh, randomly, someone in the camp heard that I also made beats and made my own music, and they heard some shit that I had made, which ended up becoming the song called "I, Me, and Myself" on the album. And they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh wow, like he can actually write too. Like, oh, he can make beats as well." It was like, so it was kind of just like a little secret that we were holding in, like hoping somebody would hear it. And then it just so happened that this producer named Hitmaker was coming out there too. So, he had an arsenal of stuff. The last thing they needed was good beats. You know what I mean? Like, it was so many. Every
Right.
producer, it was. I was getting packs sent to me to write to from, Weezy, Boy Wonder, like all the biggest hitters in the game. So at that point, I was like, all right, cool. Like, let me play my role here. I feel like songwriting, in that situation was like really the only way to help out, because there was so many no brainers. I didn't have beats as good as that at the time, so I just needed to play my role. And I've never had an easier time helping somebody write, just because G and I are from the same place, and I felt like I already knew him. So it was like it was an easy time, we really clicked on a personal level too. So yeah, that one just kind of happened naturally. It was just like I happened to find myself in that room, and everything else kind of just fell into place. But songwriting for me is definitely, it's a passion. But I feel like songwriters in the industry are definitely not treated with the same respect and reverence as producers, especially in the hip hop community. So I definitely focus more on producing now, but if I'm in a room with an artist, I'm definitely going to help them out with writing if they need it, just simply because I started as an artist and have an idea of like what goes into a good melody, writing good lyrics and stuff like that. But it's definitely not my primary focus, but it's definitely something I do enjoy doing when it makes sense.
Yeah. Are you self-taught in when it comes to things like songwriting? Was there someone who taught you or showed you the ropes of writing a song, or were there
Definitely
particular
not.
artists that you studied?
I mean, my favorite songwriters, like, I love Neo. Um, Like, I didn't even, honestly, as a kid, I didn't even know about songwriters. Honestly, I think the first one I found out about was probably like The Dream or something like that. And I was like, wait, this guy is writing songs for Beyonce. This guy is, you know, doing songs for you name it. You know what I mean? And that was kind of just like a rabbit hole. Um, and like, I honestly, nobody ever taught me how to do it. You know what I mean? It was definitely just like a studying type of thing, doing my own research. And I used to suck, you know what I mean? It kind of just took like studying the greats. Really, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to is studying the greats. studying people that have been doing it before you, and just finding the stuff that really moves you and seeing, trying to deconstruct what goes into that. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, yeah. Do you have, to put you on the spot, do you have a favorite song of all time or a song that you think is the greatest song ever written?
Probably September by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Right. Yeah, right. Why so?
That I mean, it's the best song ever made. Like literally, like you could play that song 50 years from now, and I think people will still love it. It's just everything about it is so perfect. The production, the instrumentation, the top line. Like, do you remember the 21st of September? And then when that chorus comes in, you know what I mean? Like, man, come on, that's untouchable. You can't beat that. And then anything by Michael Jackson, you know, whether it be anything from Thriller or like Off the Wall, that stuff is it's just it's untouchable. You know what I mean? Like it's just timeless. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You got Sensible Ben in the comments saying the horn section. It is a great horn section. That's it.
Yeah,
Hey, look,
untouchable. Man.
Ben,
Come
mate,
on, it's the best.
you've been. That's it. That's it. Hey, you've been so great with your time. Just like one or two last things, and then I'll let you go. I was really interested. You mentioned earlier that you
Cool, man.
were when you came out to LA, you were studying, and I think was it sociology that you studied?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I
It
majored in
was.
sociology at Cal State Long Beach. I ended up actually graduating, which is crazy to say out loud, but yeah.
But I think that's so interesting because you know I talk to producers and they say that a lot of the job is managing people, right? And it's figuring out how to bring the best out of people. And sociology is the study of people. Do you
hmm
reckon your sociology study helped you work with artists and as a producer?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I feel like, especially working with people from all different places in the country, um, and the world, really, like understanding culture and like it gave me like a really good bed of knowledge. Just was just how to like interact with people because so much of what I do is just on like split second impressions and like I feel like learning about sociology and also psychology um helped me so that I can make a great first impression. Like if I can take like a little tidbit that I know about this person and flip that into, you know, a long lasting relationship, that's really what it comes down to. Half the time I have 5 minutes to make an impression on somebody. You know, if let's just say I'm in the studio with Big Sean or something like that, you know, if I know something about this guy and I know that he likes this thing, I'm gonna like emphasize that I know that and try and make that impression. And I feel like sociology really helped me to like do that. You know what I mean? And kind of just um understand people in a deeper level than just like on the surface and make it about me. Because at the end of the day, as a producer and as a songwriter, it's not about me. It's about the artist at the end of the day. So yeah, I think sociology definitely helped with that.
Yeah,
That's a great question. I appreciate that.
I think it's fascinating because I studied sociology too. I love it. I think it's so interesting that
Oh no
study of
way.
how people why people behave like they do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's super interesting. Hey, so sorry, Ben, just to finish up, what are you really excited about for the rest of this year? You've got Rico Nasty's album coming out. What else is really exciting you?
I'm not sure if I can announce it yet, but I don't know. There's only 12 people on here. I got a single coming out with City Girls and Juicy J that I'm very excited about. Um, I've got some stuff coming with the baby. Hopefully with um Young Boy. Lots of different stuff. There's a couple up and coming artists that I'm really excited about. This guy called Junie who was just on Typhon or on Brent Faiyaz's album. It's another artist named Ty Fontaine that I've been working with a lot. Super dope up and coming guy from Maryland. But yeah, man, there's all types of stuff. Kenny Mason, he's super fire from Atlanta. Got some stuff coming with him. But yeah, it's gonna be a big year. I'm excited for everything that's coming out. You know, fruits of my labor are finally starting to bloom, and hopefully people want to pick them and eat them. You know.
That's it. The 10,000 hours paying off.
Yes, sir.
Nice, nice. Hey Ben, thanks so much for your time, mate. Really, really appreciate it. You have a
Thanks.
day.
This was lovely. Thank you, Rod.
See you, mate. Take care.
All right. Have a good one, man.
Bye.